Hi, I'm Stuart. Welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back. Thanks for viewing my video. In this video, I give my reading update for the week of 6/14/2020 through 6/20/2020. I didn't complete any books this week. I read parts of 3 books, so I'll talk briefly about those 3 books. I'll talk about my reading plans for the near future. I'll talk about the videos I released. I'll talk about a crochet project I worked on. I'll talk about the video games I'm playing. I'll talk about the music I listen to. And I'll talk about some other things going on in my life too. First book I read part of is The Other Civilisations, Decoding Archaeology's Less Celebrated Cultures by Raven Todd DaSilva. This is a book I learned about on the YouTube channel of Dr. Smiti Nathan, who I first got to know as a booktuber, but she's an archaeologist and she has a channel where she posts podcasts. She interviews people, and really good channel. They talk about things that aren't necessarily the most talked about things in archaeology. They go a little deeper. And witness this book, because normally when people talk about ancient civilizations, they're going to talk about Rome, about Greece, about the Mayans and Aztecs, maybe ancient China. But this talks about some lesser known civilizations, as the title would indicate, some of which were lost to time for hundreds of years. So I'm a little over halfway through. Quite an interesting book. A lot of good pictures in here. So, quite an interesting book. Another book I read part of is Julie Chan is Dead by Liann Zhang. In this book, Julie Chan is one of 2 identical twins, but they were both adopted at a very young age. Her sister was adopted by this wealthy family, where Julie Chan was adopted by her aunt, who didn't treat her very well, and her sister, Chloe, is a very popular influencer, and Julie works in a supermarket, a job she doesn't like very much. She hasn't had very much contact with her twin sister, but she gets a kind of garbled phone call, which is concerning to her, so she goes to New York City to the apartment of her sister. She gets to the apartment and she doesn't have a key, she doesn't have a way to enter, but the doorman thinks she is Chloe, so he lets her into the building, and the door to the apartment is unlocked, so she goes in. Discovers her sister has passed away. A few things happen, but somewhat on the spot she decides that she is going to pretend to be Chloe and take over her life. She's really good at rationalizing why, but won't say any more than that. But it's quite an interesting story. Somewhat unhinged, but quite an interesting story. I am reading this book as part of the Weird Girls, Weirder Books Fable Book Club, moderated by Laurie. It is a June read. I already had the book before it was selected as the June read by vote. I did vote for it because I already had it, but I was happy that this one was selected. And I should say that the other Ancient Civilisations and Julie Chan is Dead are books that I started this week. And the third book that I started this week and read some from is Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. This is the June read for I'm With a Band, a Fable Book Club moderated by MJ. Reading This Life at M-J on here. I'm only a few pages into this book. You can see looking at it, it's a rather short one, about 100 pages. So I can't really say much about it based on that, except there's this pond that's the author talks about, and he really great language to describe it. I can really picture it really well, that pond. So I did love The Grapes of Wrath, so we'll see what I think of this one. As far as my plans for the not distant future, I plan to start The Stand in July. I'm reading this as part of a group read on the Witchwood Coven Discord, the Discord of Steph at Fallen to Steph. Many years ago, I read initially the shorter 700 pages or so. Sorry to say it's shorter, but the shorter version of The Stand, the original release, and then the re-release, the extended version, around 1,200 pages. So it's interesting. I have a little bit of trepidation because I love that book. When people ask me what my favorite book from Stephen King is, that's the one I pick. It's tough compared to a couple others, but that's the one I pick. So a little bit of trepidation, and it won't work for me like it did then. And also it's a big commitment of time because it's around 1,200 pages. That's about 4 times the average length of book that I normally read. But I'm looking forward to it also. Another book that I may read is Girls Like Girls by Hayley Kiyoko. A couple years ago, I read about a third of this book. Thought it was okay. I mean, I didn't DNF it, but I just kind of put it down and didn't pick it up again. But the movie version of this just got released, and I haven't been to a movie in a long time, but I think I might like to see it. So I always want to read the book first. So I may well get back to this book. I probably, even though it's been a couple years, I'll probably just pick it up where I left off before. And if I don't remember it, I don't remember it. But this is another one I may read very soon. As far as the videos I released 3 videos. The first was reading update for the week ending 6/13/2026. Second was my review of Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. And the third is the hardest books I read. Next I want to talk about a crochet project I worked on. I actually started working on this the same day I'm recording this. The same day I'm recording the segments of this video, 6/21/2026, but I just wanted to have something to say, so I'm going one day beyond the final date that I set for this update. This is a solid square. I just started it, as I said, a little bit earlier today. A little bit challenging to get started, but seems to be going pretty well once I got going. There was one common thing that I did a lot, magic loop, which I couldn't quite exactly remember how to do. But I did look back on the Wooble site for instructions, and I did. Yeah, once I saw what it came right back. But the stitches for crocheting don't always stay with me if I step away for a little while. I keep saying that I want to keep back doing more crocheting. It's not that I don't enjoy it. I do. It's just the video games I've been playing. Just been playing a lot. And as I just say that, I have to say that I actually played 4 video games this week. I played some Tamagotchi Life. My third couple got married, which means sometime fairly soon they'll ask if it's a good time to have a child. I'll say yes, and they'll have a child. That'll be another resident of the island by 19th. I played some Wildflowers. At this point in the game, it's become a little lower stakes. It still holds enough interest for me to keep going. However, I'm not sure I'm going to play too much longer. I know I've said that before, but I played it a lot. I played some Alodalnot. That's a game where you're a diver and you're cleaning refuse and invasive plants from the ocean. I am enjoying Alodalnot. A game I started this week is The Adventures of Elliot, Millennium Tales. I'm just playing a free demo to see if I like the game. It was suggested to me by Rose at Rose-Dreamer on the Wishful Coven Discord that I might like to give this game a try, and Rose has had some good suggestions for games. I've liked everyone she suggested, so decided to give this one a try. It's kind of a throwback game with super deformed characters, fairly frequent battles with creatures and soldiers, and trying to figure out mazes. I've only played a little while. I do like it so far. We'll see if I decide to buy the game itself, but I like it so far. As far as music I listen to, I mostly listen to Cat's Eye and Pez Flow, who's a new artist that I was introduced to by an online friend. I do like the music of hers that I listen to. So those were the two main artists I listened to. Now I want to talk about some other things going on in my life. I went to the local mall a couple times and walked. I walked a couple times outside too. Took a couple, those outside walks took me by a local middle school and by the high school. This past week was the last day of school, and despite the fact that it's decades since I went to school, I still have a really nostalgic, fond feeling for what the last day of school was like for me, so just wanted to walk by those schools. The middle school I didn't go to. I went to a different middle school in town, but the high school I did go to. Other than that, I went out to eat a few times, watched a lot of YouTube videos. I've been watching a little bit of the Men's World Cup. Like what I've seen, but I just don't quite have the stamina to watch hours and hours of sports. I do it for the Olympics, but I don't do it for much else. But I've liked what I've seen. Now I just want to give a mental health update. I know that not everybody wants to see these. That's why I put them toward the end of my video. I'll put text in the lower left-hand corner saying mental health update. But the only other thing besides this that I'm going to talk about is my outro. So you've seen everything else if you watched so far. Last Friday afternoon, my sister did come home. Her situation is much improved, but she is going to require some aftercare. Yesterday afternoon, a visiting nurse came, spent a lot of time with her. Visiting nurses, or possibly other people from the same company the visiting nurse for, are going to come Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the foreseeable future. And there is going to be other medical people my sister's probably going to have to see, but she is much improved, so that's good. I would be interested in knowing how your reading week went, what books you read that you liked a lot especially. Also, music you listen to, video games, any things I talk about. I'm interested in what other people are doing in those areas, whether you're watching the World Cup, whatever. If you can't think of anything else you'd like to comment, please add an emoji of your choice. I hope you have a wonderful reading week. I hope you have a wonderful week in general. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Please subscribe. Please hit the bell to get notified when I upload future videos.